Let's start with a question that sounds more like a sci-fi idea than science fact. Do humans glow in the dark? You might instinctively say no. I mean, we don't walk around lighting up like jellyfish or fireflies. You've probably never looked in the mirror in a dark room and seen yourself emitting light, unless your phone screen was still on. But here's the twist. Scientists have actually proven that yes, you do glow in the dark. All the time. Right now, in fact. This glow is incredibly faint, about 1,000 times weaker than the human eye can detect. So no, you're not secretly radioactive or becoming Spider-Man. This glow isn't from heat either, so it's not infrared. This is visible light. Technically, it falls within the range of what our eyes can see, but the intensity is just so low that we're completely blind to it. So how was this discovered? In 2009, a group of Japanese researchers from Tohoku Institute of Technology conducted an experiment using incredibly sensitive CCD cameras that can detect single photons of visible light. They placed 5 healthy male volunteers in a completely dark, light-sealed room and took images of them over a 24-hour period. What they saw was astonishing. Faint but clear emissions of light coming from the surface of their bodies. The brightness fluctuated over time and varied by body region. The face, especially the cheeks and forehead, glowed more than other areas like the arms or torso. This might sound like some new discovery out of fringe science, but it actually builds on a very real and well-studied phenomenon called biophoton emission. Now, what are biophotons? Biophotons are particles of light, photons, that are emitted by biological systems. Basically, living cells. This includes everything from bacteria and plants to, you guessed it, humans. The light comes from chemical reactions in the body, especially those involving oxidative stress. When our cells use oxygen to metabolize energy, a process that happens constantly, they produce reactive oxygen species. These are chemically aggressive molecules that can damage DNA, proteins, and other cellular structures. As your body deals with these reactive species, certain reactions can release energy in the form of photons, tiny packets of light. This light doesn't serve a purpose like in fireflies or anglerfish. We don't use it to communicate or attract mates. It's more like a byproduct, a biological glimmer of internal chemistry. And it turns out that the human body is constantly giving off these photons in a kind of silent sparkle. Not in a glittery vampire way, but more like the low glow of a fading ember in a fire. Always on, always shifting, but too faint to see. What's even more amazing is that this glow follows a circadian rhythm. According to the study, human bioluminescence is lowest in the morning around 10 a.m., gradually increases throughout the day, and peaks around 4 p.m., before declining again into the night. It appears to track with our body's metabolism, hinting that our internal clocks are even more complex than we thought. Now you might be thinking, okay, cool, I glow, but so what? Well, scientists believe that measuring this ultra-weak photon emission might actually have real-world applications. For example, because biophoton output is tied to metabolic processes and oxidative stress, changes in your glow could indicate underlying health issues. People with certain diseases like cancer or diabetes often have altered oxidative metabolism. If we develop the right imaging tools, one day doctors might scan your body's faint glow to catch diseases early, long before symptoms appear. It's like a futuristic medical tricorder, but based on your body's light. And since we're on the topic of illuminating cool science, this is the perfect time to pause and say, if you're enjoying this video, hit that subscribe button. Every week we dive into questions just like this. Things that sound like fiction but turn out to be fascinating. Weird truths hiding in plain sight. And who doesn't want to know if they're glowing? Okay, back to your invisible shimmer. It's worth noting that other creatures give off biophotons too, and in some cases, these emissions are easier to detect. Certain fish, insects, and even plants show visible light emissions under very specific conditions. In fact, researchers have used biophoton imaging to study how plants respond to injury or stress. For example, when a leaf is cut or infected, its photon emission increases. It's like a silent cry for help, in light. In humans, these biophotons aren't just emitted randomly. They can be affected by things like physical stress, emotional state, even your diet. Some studies suggest that people under psychological stress, think anxiety, panic, or anger, may glow more, likely due to increased oxidative stress. Even your skin tone might play a role. The 2009 study found that lighter areas of the body emitted more visible light than darker ones, possibly due to differences in melanin, which can absorb light. This adds another layer of complexity to how our bodies handle energy, light, and chemistry. Now here's a fun fact. One of the earliest mentions of glowing human bodies comes from ancient texts. Stories of saints or enlightened beings glowing with a visible aura. While we can't confirm the divine side of those tales, it's poetic to think that even in the absence of modern instruments, people sense that we emit something unseen, some radiance beyond our eyes. So, what can we take away from all this? First, our bodies are never truly at rest. Even when we sleep, they're buzzing with activity, and that activity includes the silent release of light. Second, we're part of a much larger story of life that goes beyond what we can perceive. We often think we've seen it all, but nature keeps secrets, beautiful ones, that only come into view when we ask the right questions and build the right tools. And finally, science isn't just about cold facts. It can be deeply poetic. You are, quite literally, glowing. Not metaphorically because you're happy or in love, but physically because your body is alive. So next time you're lying in bed at night, lights off, in the stillness of the dark, just remember, you're not in total darkness. You're a tiny constellation of light, invisible but real, carrying the glow of life in every cell. If that blew your mind even a little, leave a like, drop a comment, and share this with someone who needs a little glow in their day. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious and keep glowing.